The health of the game is just the most important thing to me. What's your opinion on Guardian / Abyss nerf? Yeah, so my opinion on the Guardian and Abyss nerf, I don't know. I feel like my opinion on it is going to be quite different from the other content creators. Here's my opinion. I think it is like 80% a good change. I think it's very good, to be perfectly honest, because here's the thing, man. When it comes to the Guardian raids, I think 100% it's a great change. 100%. In this game, Guardian raids are no longer endgame. Man, the Guardian raids are now considered dailies. It's just the way it is. This is not base vanilla Lost Ark, man. This is the updated version, Season 2 Plus version of Lost Ark. So when you make daily content very difficult, or let's just say difficult for now, then people get discouraged because they want to log in and get shit done to progress. Most people are okay with wiping and experiencing hard content if it's like the end game raid. But I think it's discouraging if you can't even progress and it takes you so long to progress. I think that's where the issues come from, because like, imagine if Chaos Dungeons were just as hard as Guardians. It's like, bro, most of the player base would just feel like they can't even fucking progress because it's too difficult. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. Now, if Guardian raids were the end game, then it should be difficult, but it's not. It's not the end game. It's a fucking daily now. Like your Eponas, your Chaos Dungeons, and your Guardian raids, these are the three things that you need to be doing daily. Period, right? When one of those dailies can take you potentially 2 fucking hours to complete, it's kind of dumb. That's number one. Number two, the numbers speak for themselves. I think I read it's like 10% of the people were like completing it or some shit. When 10% of the population can complete a fucking daily, it is not good for the game. The health of the game. You could sit there and be like, hey, I want hardcore content all day. The game's gonna turn out to be like WildStar. It is. Look what happened to WildStar. WildStar was one of the most difficult PvE games that I personally experienced. Endgame shit in that game, and like the dailies weren't difficult, but like the dungeons were extremely difficult. That game died just like that. Now, I'm not going to say it died just strictly because of that, but I think that was definitely one of the contributing factors. The last reason why I feel like, as far as the Guardian raids go, guys, this game does a very shitty job introducing the raid mechanics to the game. My opinion, with the way I would design it, is I would make Chaos Dungeons and raids, or Guardian raids, I'd make them easy. Okay, I'd make them easy. Chaos Dungeons, you know, mindless, chill grind. Guardian raids, a little bit more difficult. A little bit more, I'm not saying like make it one-shottable, a little bit more difficult where it does maybe take you anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes tops, and it introduces you to the mechanics of countering, it introduces you to the mechanics of staggering, but doesn't punish you to the point where you can't fucking do it. That'll introduce people to, okay, I see what destruction is. I see what stagger is. And I would actually go as far as to literally show the players, maybe, I don't know, when you go to this board, like show this boss, maybe like a little tooltip, you need to be sure to, you get destruction damage in there. Be sure to, there's a stagger check in there. Kind of like how WoW raids have it, right? Like kind of introduce that. Then the Abyss dungeons, I would take that a step higher and make them pretty difficult. I think they're pretty good right now. If you want to nerf them a little bit lower from here, I think that's even fine too, because that's a weekly. But definitely make them more difficult from Guardian raids and then leave it at that. When it comes to the Legion raids, you leave that difficult because that's endgame. I don't think anyone is going, I take that back. I was going to say, I don't think anyone is going to complain about the Legion raids being too difficult, but of course you always will have people. But for the most part, it wouldn't be to the extent of Guardian raids, right? There's a difference between, hey, Argos is the end game raid, Valton is the end game raid, April is the end game raid, and it's difficult, versus, yo, if I want to fucking progress and I got to do these Guardian raids, I can't do it. Because keep in mind, these are new players. These are new players playing some playing a top-down game for the first time in their lives. They have no idea what stagger checks are. They have no idea what counters are. Like, to this day, there are probably a fuck ton of people that are in tier 2 that still don't even know that a blue model means counterframe, which, by the way, it's not even always blue. With all the lighting and shit that's in this game, all the effects, sometimes that shit turns purple. I know I've been in that situation before where I'm just like, yo, was that a counter frame? Because that kind of turned purple. But if I try to counter it and it isn't a counter frame, I might get one shot from that mechanic. So I don't really want to test to find out, because now I'm going to be throwing for my team. You know what I mean? It's not forgiving for new players. So again, my priority and what I would want from the game is the health of the game. Yes, of course, I enjoy hard, Guardian raids and all that stuff. It's fun, but my opinion doesn't matter. What I want in a video game doesn't mean that it's what everyone wants. And logically thinking, dailies, easy content, Chaos Dungeons, super easy, Guardian raids, harder, but more of an introduction to raid mechanics, Abyss Dungeons being difficult, but clearable, not to the point where you sit there like, well, fuck it, we can't clear it today. Not to that extent, but very challenging to the point where it does force you to do mechanics where you do have staggered checks and you do have these mechanics that are in there as a gateway to the Legion raids, Legion commanders, where it's like, okay, this is, okay, all that shit that you learned, those steps, now it's time to fucking wipe and not be able to clear content. All the content creators out there, first of all, most of the OG content creators for Lost Ark, they know more about the game than I do. I'm gonna be straight up. I put out informative content, but I will be the first to say that a lot of those content creators know more about the game than I do. They've been playing longer than I did. And I'm not mocking them by any means, because, their logic behind their opinion is absolutely correct. But again, it's just opinions and what we think is healthy for the game, but I'm pretty sure that there are other content creators out there that are worried that these easy mechanics are going to lead to wiping with Legion raids. Guys, this shit could be difficult. They could change these raids to become more difficult. You know what's going to end up happening? You're still going to wipe all day when a new fucking raid comes out. That's what it is. When Clown comes for the first time, I don't care if you are able to clear Albrahostic here. Like, I don't care if you're able to clear him on hard or easy. Regardless, like, you're going to still wipe when you see that raid for the first time. And it's going to force you to learn it, right? So, but I get what they're saying, you got to be trained in, you have to be able to identify counter mechanics and all that stuff. And that's fine, I agree with that. But I don't think it needs to immediately be hard. I think there's stepping stones to it. And yeah, that's my opinion.